Hey, this is Minute Book Reports, and this is a discussion video on the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. If you just want the summary, I made one of those summary videos, but this is more of a video about my thoughts and some of the things that I found interesting in the book. So the real quick summary is this book is about a boy named August who has some kind of face uh, deformity, and he goes to a new school, and it's about his school year and how he adjusts, his family adjusts, and how the school adjusts to him. The first thing that I thought about as I was reading this book was attending a new school and how difficult that can be, because that's basically how the book opens up, where August is presented this sort of new opportunity to attend this school because he's been homeschooled his whole life. I know exactly how tough that can be because I've been to a new school multiple times throughout my life. I was in a new school in the 6th grade, in the 7th grade, in the 9th grade, and then I went to a completely different state to go to college. I went to an elementary school from pretty much 1st grade up until about 5th grade. And then after that, I switched schools in 6th grade, which is like the last year before middle school, because the way that my school was, it was K through 6 was elementary, 7th, 8th was middle school, and then 9th through 12th was high school. But I had to switch schools after 5th grade going into 6th grade, and that was really difficult because all my friends and everyone that I basically grew up with, I was leaving them behind, and I had to go to a brand new school where that same thing occurred for everybody else except me. And I just remember thinking, man, this is going to be tough. And it was really difficult, even as a young kid. I just remember being so hurt when I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anybody's name. Everybody had to learn my name. I had to learn like 20 or 30 other names. I never been to that type of school because I went to a private school, and then now I was going to a public school. So I didn't understand like public school culture. I didn't know about recess or lunch in those same ways, because our recess and lunch was very, very different, and it was a lot to get used to. I think it took me about, I want to say, about 4 months to start making friends, which, if you think about it, is an eternity when you're in 6th grade. And really, what helped me make friends was I was in class, and one of like the popular kids became my friend, and I'm not sure why. That kid wanted to be my friend. Maybe it was because I was new. Maybe he was playing a joke on me. I don't know, but he like he would talk to me and like invite me to go out and do stuff with the other kids during recess and lunch. And over time, that really helped with sort of becoming one of the group. And I just remember those first few months sort of struggling, and you know, before school, I would just sort of walk around by myself, and then during recess, I'd sort of walk around by myself, and during lunch, I would we'd have to all sort of sit together, but after lunch, we would go to recess, and I'd sort of stand around by myself, and I'd see all my classmates, but I didn't know how to talk to them because I was new, and they didn't know who I was. I didn't know who they were. It was just really, really scary. But I'm really appreciative for people like that guy who sort of became my friend and sort of introduced me to everyone, and it just sort of reminded me again, like in this book, August has like those types of people that are placed where they're able to introduce him to other people and just sort of get him into that. I think it's really difficult for a single person to walk into a new environment and not know anyone, and then just try to make friends at around. There are definitely people that can do that. I'm not one of those people, and I don't think most people are like that. I think it's always easier and better when there's someone who is already established that can sort of guide and help the newer people. Then after 6th grade, I went to a completely different school that was not really close to that school. So all the friends I had made in that first year, I had to like leave them because they all went to another school, and I basically went to a different school. So same thing happened again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. Making things difficult, I guess. But I had to go to a brand new school for 7th and 8th grade. And the school was gigantic. I just remember the school being like physically big. Like uh, the buildings were 2 stories, and they were just like big concrete like boxes, and there were a lot of hallways, a lot of classrooms, a lot of lockers. Cafeteria was way bigger, and of course there were a lot more students. And again, I ran into that same problem of, well, what do I do during the morning before school starts? Oh, I guess I'll just walk around. Or what do I do during recess? I guess I just walk around. Or what I do during lunchtime or after school? I just sort of walked around, and yeah, I don't know. I think that just became easier to just walk. At least I wasn't standing by myself. I was just sort of like, I looked like I had somewhere to go, which maybe wasn't a good thing because people thought I was always going somewhere, right? Like, oh, there's that guy that keeps going places. He looks like he's in a really big hurry. So anyway, uh, but again, the same thing sort of happened in seventh grade where there were like a group of girls, I guess, that were pretty popular, and so they started talking to me, and I was like, cool, let me talk to them because they're popular, you know, they're pretty girls, and so I thought, okay, I'll go talk to them, right? And I think that definitely helped me make my group of friends because it was like the girls' group of friends sort of had a, I don't know if this is like, I don't know if this happens today, but it's sort of like there's like these polarizing groups where like there's like the popular girls that sort of like balance out like the popular boys group, and they just sort of happen to interact a lot, but they're still within their own groups, they're like functions. So it's kind of like the movie Grease where they were like the T-Birds and like the Pink Ladies. They sort of balance each other out, but they're their own separate entities. And I feel like I became friends with that group of girls, or they at least took notice of me, and that sort of pulled me into this group of like guy friends, and that made it a lot easier. And those are the friends that I pretty much stuck with for seventh and eighth grade. But again, I changed schools in ninth grade, and of course, I went away to college where I did not know anyone. And I guess the point is that going to a new school, going to a new place, and even when you go to a new workplace, it's gonna be difficult. And I've been lucky to have people in my life that sort of helped me, and it it does remind me, or this book especially sort of reminded me to be friends and to help new people because I was helped, and it really made a big difference for me in terms of getting comfortable and thinking of that place as safe, because there's nothing worse than going into a place consistently where you feel unsafe. Another thing I also want to mention is that it took time. I didn't make friends in like 2 weeks. Ideally, it would have been great if I made friends in a day, but it really took a lot of time, and it took, 3 to 4 months, which again, I know seems like an eternity in school time. Trust me, it does not feel any faster in adulthood. But again, like it's just continuously putting yourself out there, and hopefully someone will take notice. I think that's the idea, is someone will take notice and say hello and start talking to you, and then from there hopefully you can have a sort of group of friends there. So last point I want to talk about was just the message of the book, which is to be kind to other people and don't judge other people, but most importantly just to be their friend. I think that's something that's lost today because of all the technology and social media and social networking and things that we try to do today. I think being a friend is sometimes overcomplicated, where we have to do all these different things online, and we have to sort of manage a lot of things. But being a friend is really just about saying hi, spending time with them, genuinely asking about how they're doing, and then, we can sort of move on. It's sort of a weird culture now where friends are sort of a profile. They're not almost like real people anymore. We text them, we don't talk with them, we see them online, but we don't spend time with them in real life. We forward videos, but we don't go necessarily to watch the movies together. So it's definitely changing. But what I got out of this book was that sometimes it just takes one person to change someone's life, and that can be done through friendship. I've never really understood why certain people were like blacklisted, sort of like August was in this book. There was nothing wrong I could see about them. They were just unpopular and uncool and weird. And I don't know if being weird is enough of a reason to not be their friend. I think them being an angry person or jealous person or someone who talks behind your back, I think those are reasons to not be their friend. Although, ironically, sometimes those characteristics are what makes you popular, or at least the popular people have those things. But I don't think being weird is enough to not be someone's friend. Weirdness is just something I don't understand. So if I don't understand something about a person, it's weird to me because I'm not familiar with what they are. But I think if I took the time to actually get to know them, it would become more familiar and then they would not be weird. And so I think that's the tough part is when weirdness sort of blocks people from being their friend or being someone's friend, and then everyone buys into that weirdness and they think, oh, well, yeah, they're just weird. I don't want to be their friend. It's so strange how people think sometimes. I guess what's most important is at least I made a new friend and I'm helping that person out, even if other people don't quite understand it. I think that's what this book illustrates really well with characters like Summer and Jack, where they're just friends with August, and people can see that and they're like, oh, they're kind of strange. But then eventually they figure out, like, oh, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just like a normal person. Like I mentioned earlier, those people who really went out of their way to be my friend made an impact on me because they made sort of acclimating socially to my new environment so much easier. It saved me a lot of time, but I think it also made the experience of being accepted, like, it sort of raised my self-esteem. I try to do that for other people. I can't say I've always been perfect because there's been times where once I've been in sort of the group, the popular group, I sort of forgot about, my roots and where I came from and really what it meant to be sort of an outsider and how it was to be an outsider. And so I've tried over my life to bring people in, or if I see someone who doesn't look like they have a friend, I've tried. I can't say I'm the best. It's something that I'm working on continuously, but it's something that I at least recognize. And I think this book made me rethink about that. It reminded me about those things. I think that this book is best read when a lot of time has passed between middle school or those younger years and the time you actually read the book. I think it just gives the person more time to reflect, and it doesn't make it so, like, maybe some of those hurtful experiences, like, so tough. So just to sum up, this book was great. It made me think about middle school again, and it reminded me about how it was to attend a new school, how to make friends again. It reminded me about physical insecurities that we all have, and of course, just being kind and being a friend to other people when it looks like they could use a friend. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.